coupled with a decision of the Court of Appeal on the question of when a seat of a member of parliament is vacant by reason of absenteeism, the following processes should be complied with. 1. The member must have been absent from a meeting for 15 sittings in that meeting without the permission of the Speaker in writing, based on the evidence from the votes and proceedings of Parliament. 2. The fact of the absence of the member without permission of the Speaker may be raised on the floor of Parliament by a member, and the matter referred to a committee of privileges for consideration and report to the House. 3. The members so referred shall be required to offer an explanation for the absence to the committee of privileges, which shall consider whether the explanation is reasonable. 4. The committee of privileges, after consideration, shall recommend to the House such action as the committee may consider appropriate.
So we'll share our Facebook on any of the platforms. Yema Akwaba KOFI Radio so any. Yema me Adwoa Safo make I say ni constituency ho wokai say anamuntu eba yema o hwanka sase no technically edin but BC for betwen so no babonten ebe wish womo well in her capacity as the member of parliament Emma Omanfo Dome-Kwabenya. Ni nyina mu na say parliament ruling on this matter no and as speaker Alban Kingsford's Bagbin ni ruling
conducts itself is regulated by the standing orders of the House. It is provided by Article 1101 of the Constitution 1992 that, and I quote, subject to the provisions of the Constitution, Parliament may, by standing orders, regulate its own proceedings, unquote. Article 97(1)(c) stipulates the conditions under which the seat of a member of Parliament may be vacant. Put differently, once the member has A, been absent from Parliament for 15 sittings of a meeting of Parliament, B, not obtained the permission of Mr. Speaker in writing to be absent, and C, cannot offer a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges, the member automatically vacates the seat. This is the position that was endorsed in the case of Professor Stephen Kweku Asare versus the Attorney General and 3 others, unreported 2008 Court of Appeal. And I want to quote what they said. The plaintiff appellant, hereafter referred to as the appellant, contends that once a member absents himself from Parliament without explanation for more than 15 sittings in this case, that member's seat automatically becomes vacant by operation of law. This argument is sound in law and are accepted, unquote. On the other hand, Order 161 of the Standing Orders provides: 1. The recommendations of a report of committee shall be presented to the House in the form of a report. 2. At any time after the report has been presented to the House, a motion may be moved by the chairman of the committee for the acceptance of the report. Our orders specifically require that the recommendations of a committee must be subject to the consideration of the House, and that the plenary plays an important role in choosing to adopt or reject the recommendations. The rationale for this structure is that committees of Parliament are macrocosms and extensions of the House as a whole. They are handmaidens whose core constitutional function is to assist Parliament, in the language of Article 1031 of the Constitution, in, I quote, the effective discharge of its functions, unquote. There are, however, a few exceptions to this general rule, as noted by the majority leader, Articles 106(13), and that's clause 13, and 177 provide instances where the Committee of Parliament's work operates to automatically bind the House, and no consideration whatsoever is required by the plenary in these matters. May I add that it is also the case with the recommendations of the Committee of Members holding office of profit. In such instances, the Constitution specifically says so. Very clearly stated in the Constitution. Most parliamentary decisions are made by the House acting on the recommendations of one of its committees. It does not follow that all decisions in Parliament must be done that way. Where the Constitution itself specifies a particular process for deciding, then it is that process that must be followed. This is because general things do not derogate from special things. However, in contrast with these instances cited, there's nothing, and I mean nothing, to the effect that the conclusion of the work of the Committee of Privileges also concludes the matter, and no action may be taken by the House on the findings and recommendations of the committee. Furthermore, the instances cited are not referrals from the House to the Committee of the House. Article 177, for instance, indicates that the advances from the contingency fund may be authorized by the Committee for Finance once the committee is satisfied that there has arisen an urgent or unforeseen need for assistance. The plenary in this case is not seized with jurisdiction to make a reference or determination on the decision of the Committee for Finance. In fact, the Constitution says the committee in charge of financial matters. The distinction between this provision and Article 97(1)(c) is that, in the case of the former, no referral is made by the House in any way to the Committee for Finance. The minister responsible for finance, in making a request for an advance from the contingency fund, is not required to come to the House, but can submit his request to the Committee for Finance. The House plays no role in the process. The Constitution mandates the Minister of Finance, after the authorization of the Committee of Finance, to, as soon as possible, present a supplementary estimate for the purpose of replacing the amount so advanced. That's what is stated in the Constitution. And that is very different from the position in Article 97(1)(c). On the contrary, in relation to the matter before us, the absenteeism of the 3 members is referred to the committee in accordance with Article 97(1)(c), after the allegation that the members were absent for 15 days without permission in writing by the Speaker. A committee of the House is then called upon to inquire into the allegations and report to the House for a decision. I find the position canvassed strongly by the majority leader as untenable, for the simple reason that where the framers of the Constitution intended that the committee be clothed with exclusive jurisdiction on a matter without reference to the House, it has expressly, as in the case of Article 106(13) and 177, indicated so within the text of the Constitution. To the extent that a similar express mandate is not conferred on the Privileges Committee in respect of matters arising under Article 97(1)(c), Parliament's procedure with respect to the committees must of necessity apply. To imply any mandate into Article 97(1)(c) is one I am not prepared to do. Pursuant to Article 110 of the Constitution, my understanding is that where the Constitution does not provide a procedure, Parliament may regulate the procedure within that space as long as it does not offend the Constitution. It is in accordance with this power that Parliament captured the details of Article 71C in Order 16.1, which is to the effect that once a member is alleged to be in breach of the... In conclusion, honorable members, as I have noted in this ruling, the decision as to whether or not to admit a motion is the exclusive preserve of the Speaker. In view of the foregoing, the House is well within its rights to receive and consider the report of the committee and make a determination arising out of the recommendations. In the circumstances, it is my ruling that the motion was rightfully admitted and the report of the committee is subject to the consideration of the House. It goes without saying that the preliminary objection of the majority leader to the admissibility of the motion for consideration of the report of the committee is hereby dismissed in limine. Honorable members, I did indicate that I will give my understanding at the end of the debate on this matter, and I'll give you copious referral notes on this issue. It's my humble view that even what the table office does in trying to compute the days that a member absents himself is not final. It's for the committee to investigate and establish the facts. Again, the fact that the Speaker or is alleged that the Speaker has not given permission in writing is also not final. Evidence must be produced before the committee. And the last thing is for the committee. The fact that the committee says, oh, this reason is reasonable, this reason is not reasonable, it's not also final. It's for the House that will go through it, because the mandate given to an MP representation is so crucial that it cannot be left to the subjective view of any person or group of people, but the whole House. Please, honorable members, table office will accordingly place the motion, and this House will continue to deliberate and debate on it and take a final decision. I so rule. I recognize the majority leader as he is on his feet.
We are the complainer, all of us.
Speaker, thank you very much for your expressing what you indicated was going to be a ruling which you characterized as an informed ruling. Speaker, you have sent us on a very labyrinthine, tortuous and torturous journey. And clearly, I must state that I didn't know where you're taking this house. Mr. Speaker, by way of conclusion, you said the House should go through the recommendations of the committee in order to make a determination. I refer you to what you said earlier, that the House will not go through
Honorable Majority Leader, my ruling is not subject to debate. You can say you disagree with me.
Yes.
And you know what to do. Simple. You cannot go and be quoting my ruling and trying to state your position on that. That definitely is not allowed by our rules.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you have read your ruling, which I consider very...
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, yes, you will not listen to me. You will not listen to me. I've had the patience to listen to you. You must also listen to me. Mr. Speaker, you have made a ruling which I totally disagree with. I totally disagree with. I think it doesn't sit with the Constitution, and we must be able to comment. Honorable members, the majority leader is entitled to totally disagree with me. So allow him to say it, and then he knows what to do. So yes, go on. Precisely. That's because I know what to do. And I'm expressing my discomfort with this unfortunate ruling that you have made. I totally disagree. I think it doesn't sit with the Constitution and with your own earlier statements that you made in this House relating to this same thing. Very inconsistent. To that extent, Mr. Speaker, I'm serving notice. We know what to do. We come with a substantive motion to challenge your ruling, which I find very obsequious. Very obsequious. And it doesn't sit in this House. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Majority Leader, as I stated earlier on, you are totally entitled to disagree with me. But to describe my ruling as unfortunate is a choice of word that by our rules read Order 93. Read Order 93. The fact that you disagree with me does not mean that your disagreement is sacrosanct. I will never use the words unfortunate on your disagreement. I believe that that word offends against the Order 93, and I'll ask you to withdraw that word and apologize to me.
Mr. Speaker, is it the first time the word unfortunate has been used in this House? Or you want to reset the rules of this House? When I say that this statement is unfortunate, that is offensive. With the greatest respect, Mr. Speaker, I want you to indicate to me in the context what is offensive about saying that your ruling I find unfortunate. Mr. Speaker, on almost daily basis, this word has been used in this House. Or is it the case you want to reset the rules of this House? Mr. Speaker, I am not angelic. And if you tell me that in the context of usage, I find it maybe unparliamentary and I have to withdraw, I will. But I don't find it, and so I don't find it unparliamentary. But I'm in your hands. I want to listen further to you.
Majority Leader, thank you so much. You recall when you were Minority Leader, you were Majority Leader, and your deputy was Honorable Dominic Nitiwul. I was Minority Leader, and I used the word, I was Majority Leader, you were Minority Leader. I used the word, you don't understand, in trying to explain a matter, and your deputy objected to my choice of the word, you don't understand. That meant it was an insult to your intelligence. The Right Honorable Do Ajahu, who was presiding, called on me to withdraw that apology, and I did. I'm sure you recollect that because you have a sharp memory.
The Speaker, words have meanings in the context of usage. That's why I'm urging you, in the context of usage, what is not parliamentary about me saying that your ruling I find unfortunate?
I only decided to engage with you and give you this latitude because you have been with me for a long time. And when I was leader in 2001, I think you were a deputy whip. And I went around the whole world with you, always leading you. I expected that after now that you have learned so much, you are entitled to always disagree and argue with me. But I'm still older than you. And you always remain my friend until doomsday. whether you agree or disagree with me, whether you are fighting me or not, you will still remain my friend. With this, we move to item 4. Item 4. Correction of votes and proceedings and official reports. Honorable members, we'll look at the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 25th October 2022.
All right, that was for 80 Safin Wakan one ruling about our parliament to see no emwaye obi besi something which is there pa speaker enchemu a wode aba echese committee reporter wode ba ye ma eninti ebetumi agina so aka se Adwoa Safo onye member of parliament no on a committee report no enya adwen. I stand to be corrected though listening from this side, but yanko parliament na yene yenua bema Prince Bwedi otonkra edema ABN yene nkonkwedi nkomo kakra ewo ho Prince memo akwaba
jiso brumira
ye hwede ekoso parliament si ayadwen mu ayen kesene ne kakra speaker ruling ne sa Adwoa Safo da so member of parliament ana
mira sabe penalty e won kire se tie ka say do da so ye member of parliament enkwesi se afei a clerk of parliament and a business committee. 1 year share now 1 committee a privileges committee. 1 shishi mua 1 quarter no 1 friend to shisha process and you win mono a other paper so na refi has say that you know if you have Rashid for in nano a debate a year or findings in one sana or make determination say and sit no a vacant and a vacant mirror.
It is a sia ye ka say die omanfo wo Dome-Kwabenya ehwehwe wo mo MP no ene Adwoa Safo nsem kan ba ye yesio ye declare seat no vacant by elections crash as ye boaboa ne ho ba no parliament stance say odaso ye member of parliament do ni omaimu
fancy pepe enkwesi say e be fa process na committee report no e dey ni wo aba other people so na afei chairman dema committee no akenkan e wo floor next speaker ma ho kwan ama obi a kire na dwen no speaker de final ruling no beba no oda so ye emahyeruja ni dema Dome-Kwabenya enye ono nko a emahyeruja from you no ka no ho yera akontre ko asen central na after so yera Harry Court oda so ayo aso central wo mi no nira no eda so ekuta dibia no se emahyeruja for ekosi se a process ni ba mira me no ka say abotre bom kakra bia ye ro say chi mensa bonsu a raise objection say edi point say MPC no debate or report no who speaker abogu no wa first say obey central official musisi and any ade ba ko wa ye pia ye try so pie ama wonne ye ya bekasa me hu ye all kire wa kase speaker we no dey aba won objection no e you unfortunate speaker say no say all try sign or kire mu say e professor won kire mu dey tie ma ye offensive e was say otrisa with your speaker e mu hu say oni ne say ache e choice of words and it's a choice of pie bekasa it mirror say ye kasa idea about speaker from here sano on that say MP.
But you say committee report na by na say Adwoa Safo nko ana na ntikeka wo mo aka na de na wo mo safe but as it stands now say speaker ye ne say wo mo nyina report by ye no ontumi enso mo nyintumu ansa yes sir
I what you say report ni na no emeda fiduanum one chairman at the committee no early report no na afi ema ho kwan na MPs no debate wo ho ansa no kan wasem na person na de wo ka say Adwoa kwan na nitikika no Adwoa de no ekoba say minority for wo committee no so kire say ekosi say wo benya no animu ne na akasa no enya de say obetimi a kire say ye gina konya na na amayenje na majority for na wo so kire say ogwa ma no konya ni na say wo meyi ni ho ano wa amade a ene wo declare the seat no vacant sana na report na eba ye na ye bi kan mu no de mirror sana na wo
All right, Honorable Chairman Sabon so atumi apie. Utumu se na oni speaker nya adwen kra bufuo na ano ya ye den. Wo nya ya na nka wa free go na by elections aba na.
Sabe na wo hu no esan se dom do no hu ni se wo nua ba no ne won want say last year answer no betimi approve budget no wo ma wo kwa hie mu kosi se wo chata plane ko fa na ba ne ade nti se emra so wo ntimi nye wo adwuma ne dia ene ade se wo ka to no to di for emisi on wanemu esan se numbers wo nya ewo 8 parliament yi papa ne ba wo ma no e ma wo ho ehwehwe wo minority ni so hu ni say Adwoa Safo kwa no so sacrifice no any the Hurricane accompany kwa Japan so be pay committee na nim kan say for operation no fa the doctor report ni doctor yellow operation ni ademra no won so ni ntu it is an dia any won so won ko by election minority for no hu say on pass central esan dey say economy na dey Ghana koduo no won be yini na won so hu ni say na ma government dey vote difference ni dos nti ho dey won so eno ni Banta Ekosufia Mira.
All right, you better press conference no enim na ya hwese de ye bekwa akosi enti repamu ye be sign about ho. Ye da CP Prince.
Mira Kenya Mra MP no majority for ni na FIA bank.
Okay. Any e bin kasa ma, any e bin kasa.
Ye ncha say betimi ne ba ku ge bi ekomi akasa. Mira the one can say we need an kasa ni ya. O mu bi ninja.
Na ye say wo mu nyina bo afu speaker na wo mu apia ba.
Bashane on bet I will lead a chi I'm only that actually mu di nti a won
press conference no ba yasotire na yemra ho emefa na live yenti ensem a wo ka no ebi eda CP
musumra se bu ira.
All right enti yenia Prince Wadi and watonkra edema ebi na de esie safe no aka ho the breaking news and say Adwoa Safo eda so a member of parliament manfo a ewo Dome-Kwabenya enti mo hwa mo bisa say so what is the outcome no the breaking news and say Adwoa Safo is still a member of parliament the akan so sakra mo messages are mo de abano ebi was say I'm watching live every okay let me see say I think say press conference no shasia enesanti yenkona fe yenti Prince yatonka
Mira what Mr. Tonka you run up here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I believe you all heard the ruling of the speaker on the referral that he made to the Privileges Committee in respect of the absence from Parliament amidst 15 certain days on the part of 3 honorable members, the Honorable Ken Ohnidepo, the Honorable Ken Forte, the Honorable Adwoa Safo. You will recollect that on the day of the referral, the Speaker made an emphatic statement that after the referral, he requires the Committee on Privileges to submit their report, and he said, when check the hands up, that Parliament would not debate the report, but Parliament shall have to vote on the report. On that day, I disagreed with him that is not what the Constitution provides. Today, I'm saying that the report should be submitted to Parliament, and then Parliament will have to debate the report and then vote on it. The same thing, 2 rulings, 2 different rulings from the Speaker. And both rulings are inconsistent with the Constitution. At the very outset, you remember when he made a referral, the majority chief got up to say that the Speaker has no business referring the conduct of the team to the Privileges Committee.
And he said that it ought to have come as a petition that a member ought to have submitted to the House. And then that would occasion the Speaker to make the reference.
All right. Chimwa, Honorable Ose Chairman Sabonsu, Ede Banono. Now it looks like pressure kakra from Parliament with regards to Chimwa Womode but ruling none in Chimwa hold on it say enya aba ewie.
As I have voted in this ruling, the decision as to whether or not to admit the motion is the exclusive preserve of the Speaker. In view of the foregoing, the House is well within its rights.
When you're ruling a Speaker a day Emma earlier, watch say Adwoa Safo is still Dome-Kwabenya MP. Adwoa Safo is still Dome-Kwabenya MP. And that is the breaking news.
This is why now the motion was rightfully admitted, and the report of the committee is subject to the consideration of the House. For consideration of the report of the committee is hereby dismissed in limine.
That is a ruling. The breaking news: Sarah Adwoa Safo still Dome-Kwabenya MP. Enti Parliament tana say wobobo nsem no ho putupuria mu no de aba e was asemi e ho eno no. Shannon so we KOFI Radio and yede sa breaking story e de ebrel. Developments are eba e wechi very soon ye be ma another development eno efa omampani ene na and members of Parliament issue en ranajo with regards to finance minister development be ashase APA ewo eno and then GPRT for so say travel transport first no wo mo atutum but the nyan take effect wo mo atutum as say akwa gina so mo de 30% no 20% and no VVIP for no at the 20% can ho GPRTU at the 90%. Those ones ning and the details no ebebro and chakra and as we speak now the breaking news and it's a Sarah Adwoa Safo still the member of Parliament for Dome-Kwabenya. No matter what whoever says no Parliament ruling Abba Speaker Alban Kingsford Sumani Bagbin Ninchimwa wade eba ye enono. Mwa omete dominant free mo. Sarah Adwoa Safo still not Kwabenya MP but Dome-Kwabenya MP. Say Kofi, I see your facial expression is like you don't understand, but that is Ghana for you. Hey, how can you say anyway? Any free Kwame Ohene Sapon ho. It the parliamentary correspondent narration was very clear to me, even though I just joined. Okay, Kofi, anti-Kofi, that is the explanation. Prince Wedi Ede Emma still watching live from Takrade and watching live from Kumasi with free Moses ho. Mo share YouTube KOFI Radio ho nyina nso yachiamo. The American kinds here and your Facebook comments. Watching live from Sampa Ofori Forsen Alexander and Asemo Ghana MP's boy. All right, so that is the breaking news. Yabasia Boakwan will be with any other development ABC. Anything any say Wamodia ne click on the subscribe button our YouTube channel no so say ne click notification bell ne kan because yen live no say yen share that air now so eba as and when see ya na quickly yeah, the Adwoa KOFI Radio. So then we get time on KOFI TV to digest the issues proper. And to share and so na click subscribe button. So here will YouTube KOFI Radio channel. So I say KOFI TV channel. Also YouTube. I click on the subscribe button. Na click it. A domane on channel notification bell. No click it and also eka home for my. Now if you share on Facebook remember say obe like page na say obe follow na ye ba live when your notification entem see ya quickly na ye de enchemu no de abro what say Kofi, hope you are good me ho ye pa what say I'm so disappointed in Adwoa Safo's case. She should be sacked and if we reach te ho and said them assume and say hey speaker and parliament pa was it Ghana yet there Rihanna Idrisu message what they buy no on this note men famo NC am share free London sasu nkansan say we share free London ya chiao all right tiem fa wonsi ya yebesi abo akwamu bio with further developments ebesi na yedin abel
KOFI Radio for the Ghanaian